Hey everybody, Robot here. ScooterWest.com and Vespa Motorsport here in San Diego, California. I'm going to show you one of our most popular accessories that we sell. Fits most all Vespas, along with other scooters. A lot of people nowadays, I don't know, pretty much everybody has a smartphone now. You rely on your smartphone for navigation, music, Bluetooth connectivity. You know, you could text while you're on the road. Probably not the best idea on a scooter, but believe it or not, people do that. I've seen a bicyclist riding with one hand, doing a text. So, you know, it might be against the law, it might be dangerous, but people do it. The safest way to have a phone on your scooter is with the RAM mount. Companies out of Seattle, Washington, all made in the United States. I've checked out a lot of other phone mounts, and over the years there's other systems that use a ball much like the RAM, but I find that the RAM ends up working the best. I've used them on my trips, I've used them off-road, you know, many different situations. I've been using their products for several years, and it's my favorite, and they have the most mounting solutions available that work the best with the Vespas, number one. Show you how the RAM mount works. This is the X Grip, which is our most popular lineup. They do make cradles that are specific to a phone. You pretty much just open up the grip and the phone is in there. And if you're worried about, say you're on a bumpy road, it does come with this little, whatever you want to call this thing, like a little strap there. Kind of protects keeps the phone. There's no way it's coming out with that rubber strap. Most of the time when I commute, I don't bother with that, but I've been on long trips just for safety. If I hit like a huge pothole or something, kind of keep the phone in place just in case. As you saw, the volume went down a little bit. You do have to be aware of where you mount it. Make sure it's not hitting the buttons. You know, different phones are in different spots, but you know, pretty much you can use it for navigation. Oh, there we are, Pacific Highway. No, I don't even know where that is. There we go. There's our shop, Vespa Motorsport. But the most useful, you know, for the RAM mounts is navigation. You know, the phones have come so far compared to like a Garmin that's not connected to the internet. I mean, you can use Waze. It just pretty much routes you the best way, you know. I don't know. I'm always like kind of techie with this stuff. I like using the latest and greatest for navigation, and the RAM mount's the best way to mount the phone onto your scooter here. And you can pretty much use all functions of it. The nice thing with the ball is you can articulate it. You can sometimes I want to change the position so it's, you know, behind the windscreen on a rainy day, or if you want it landscape, you can change it like that. Sometimes in the phone you may need to lock the orientation because the vibration sometimes will throw off the position sensors or the accelerometer that's in the phone. But they're quite universal. You can remove it pretty quickly. Get the phone out of there. It works just as well with a case. This is a larger phone. If you have even larger phones, such as like one of the Galaxy Tabs, there's a larger version of the X Grip that we do have available. And if you don't want the mount at all, just take it right off, and all you're left behind is with the ball. And this is an unusual mount. I'll show you the most common mount, and it clamps onto the mirror stem. That's the most popular mount. I'll show you how to install that. So here we got the options of the RAM mounts that work the best with the Vespa range of scooters. I'll go over all the different ones, starting from the most popular option. Our part number on this is RAM-03, and it's a complete kit. All you need to do is buy the one part number, and it includes the X mount, includes the X Grip that holds a phone, includes a link that links the mounting ball to the X Grip itself. And what's unique about this kit is it works with all the different sizes of mirror stems. So it's the most universal for pretty much all scooters that have round mirror stems, or motorcycles if you're going to use it on that. And there's a second part that clamps, and you can see it clamps around a small diameter shaft. I think it will clamp up to about a 1/2 inch, and there's many different adapters that are included with the kit to mount on different mirror stems. So these adapters go in there, and you have the mating adapter on the other side, and will clamp onto a much smaller stem, and it ends up working quite ideal for the Vespas, which all have chrome mirror stems pretty much. So there's another side, and it bolts right up. It's a nice, tidy, small mounting solution for the Ram mount. Again, that's our most popular one. I'll show how to install that one next. While the Ram-03 is a complete kit, we also sell the individual parts. The smaller X grip is a Ram-01, and it works with pretty much all the small to mid-size mobile phones. This iPhone, what is this thing? I don't know. 7 Plus is a little on the large side for it, but it still grips it just fine. If you're only going to use the larger phones, there's the Ram-02, which is the larger version of the X grip, and it will work with the much larger phones. So again, these are the two X grip part numbers that we have available, larger one and the smaller one. Next, we go on to the mounting solutions. We have Ram-XX02. It includes the link, a base that's not really used. You can use it for making your own mounts, or if you're using one of the phone-specific cradles, you know, would be useful for using on this. This is a very popular option for the Vespa GTV, or if you're any other scooter that has just standard mirror stems. It's got enough of an offset where you can unthread your left mirror and thread it back through the hole right there. So you can see there's a flat bracket. This would mount, and you'd have the option to put the Ram X grip on the other end. The second individual mount is very much like that last one, Ram-XX03. It's got a 45-degree mount with a 9mm hole. Also works very well with many of the mirrors found on various scooters. And we also have the Ram-XX04. And unfortunately, I don't have it built right here, but I could show you. There's the mounting ball that the link clamps to. It includes this part that you can change the angle once you install the hardware in there. And the idea of this is you have an offset mount that you can change the angle of, and it comes with various bolts that will bolt down to your mirror perch. Not as popular an option, but if you have a threaded hole somewhere on a scooter, this works quite well. Sorry, I don't have a demonstration of that. And the easiest to install option is, I think it's called the Tough Claw. And I think the part number on this one is Ram-XX06. And it's a complete kit. Includes the smaller X grip, and it's got a claw that will clamp onto any tubular or flat surface, such as a grip, or if you have a crash bar you want to mount the phone to. I could show you, say you're going out to rent a scooter, that's where I found this quite useful. Very, very easy to install. You can just put this on the grip, and there's still enough room for your hand to reside on the left grip, and it makes a nice secure mount right off the grip. I'll show how to install that one, along with the first most common option, which is the mirror stem. The last accessory we have available for the Ram mount is the Ram-Lock. And what it is it's a lock that prevents somebody from stealing the Ram mount. which, you know, if you're parking the scooter outside, if anybody knew what it was, you can remove the regular wing nut clamp. You put this lock on there, clamp it down, then you can take the key out, and this will just only spin in one direction, you know, and it locks your locks it, so no one can mess with this knob until you put it back in the locked position where you can, you know, it just secures the whole mount. We have that available. I'll show you the easiest to install RAM mount first. This is great, like I said, suggested, say you're borrowing somebody's scooter, renting a scooter, or you have a bunch of different scooters that you want to move the RAM mount to. Pretty much undo the clamp and go right on the grip. Technically you could do it on a bar end if you had a larger bar end. And as much as you think this might be in the way of your grip, there's still plenty of grip to grab onto without the mount being in the way. Nice simple installation, and you could change your angle of how the phone works, and you pretty much have your phone right at your within hand's reach right there. So here's the complete kit with the RAM 03. Includes the X grip, as I stated earlier. It includes 4 different size cups that clamp onto the mirror stem, and that's the approximate size in millimeter of the stem that's going to clamp on. You could measure the diameter of your mirror, but I found it just works best with trial and error. Find the right size that will tighten right up to the mirror stem. Also includes a little bit of rubber self-adhesive strip that you could put inside here. You know, if you don't have a perfect size, you could, or none of these cups work, you can curl this up and put this in there. It will make quite a good friction fit to the rod that you're mounting it to. You got 2 parts of the mounting ball. You got the hardware, the Allen key. There's the rubber suspender for the X grip. Real easy to install. For the current Vespa lineup, I found that the 32 and 40 millimeter stems aren't used. That's a much smaller stem. Primaveras and Sprints, you want to use the 47 millimeter clamps. For the GTS, you want to use the 55 millimeter clamps. So you take the 55 and drop it into both sides of the clamp mount, and you could do a test fit right around the stem of the mirror. And you want to make sure there's a little gap, is because the friction of the pressure of the screws will pull this pull the gap tight. So I'm putting the Allen screw in there, put the nut, and just go ahead and get one of them started. And it's what I found is just do it just tight enough where it's holding in place. Drop the other screw in. And repeat. And it's all personal preference where you want it. If you want it down here or further up the stem, I found, I don't know, with an inch or 2 of the bottom, that's perfectly ideal. So go back and forth between the two. Again, this is all personal preference. You know, you can come back and loosen the 2 Allens, adjust it to your liking, you know, once you find an ideal spot for your phone. And it's also possible if you don't tighten these all the way, you could still adjust this. And that might be an ideal solution for you if you want to change the angle. If you don't want it coming loose, just go ahead and tighten these until everything's all snugged up. So you take the X grip, you could put the rubber suspender or whatever you want to call this thing right through the ball right there. You take the link and open it just enough for the clamp to open and drop onto the ball. And open that one just enough. And I've found that about like that is usually, you know, again, it's all personal preference where you want the phone. You may want to turn it upright if you're going to try to do a video while you're riding. And there you go. So that's the most ideal solution for installing the ram mount on a Vespa scooter there. And again, you can lock it or unlock it while you're at a stop or something, change the orientation of the landscape, and change the position. You know, it's all personal preference and can be easily adjusted. And here's the ram mount with the lock installed, so no one can take the mount away from the scooter. You can see there's no one's going to be able to twist the T-handle to adjust the position unless you put the key in the lock, and then you'll be able to change the position or remove the mount. Thanks for checking out our videos. Hope everybody found that useful. I've seen, you know, a lot of our local customers have opted for the ram mounts for bringing their phone along on their scooter for navigation or whatever else you want to use your phone for. Last thing is these rubber pegs, they can be glued onto the mount if you like. I've found that you don't necessarily need to. They're also replaceable or sold as a replaceable set of 4 if you end up losing one, or just over time the soft rubber will start to deteriorate a little bit. The part number on those I think is RAM 01R. Thanks again for watching. See everybody next time. Robot here.